Very cool. We're not getting off this train of, we've brought this shit up before, because Kyle brought up Kingdom Hearts, so I might as well bring up the other fucking ones. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is on
Ayo.
because, yes, Hunter, you called it earlier, you can sit there and with your smug little story time for everybody. I originally bought...
story.
Yeah.
I do too.
It's
very fun.
I originally bought this game not to play it, but to rub it in Kyle's face that I owned a Switch and a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles. Because at the time of Xenoblade 2's release, Kyle didn't have a Nintendo Switch. In fact, I don't remember who in our group actually had a Nintendo Switch at that point. I think it was just myself, Jack, and Sam. That had one. So it was like, I decided, because I was buying a lot of the Nintendo first-party games this time around. I bought ARMS as well, because I wanted to support the Switch, because I didn't want it to be as a failure like the Wii U. So I bought Xenoblade 2, and I thought it was funny, because I thought I'd buy this and put it all over my Twitter, and send it to Kyle in his DMs as well as putting it on Twitter, and sending Kyle the tweets in his DMs as well. Only then to not play the game. And it sat on my shelf, sealed for months. And then after Christmas, Kyle was like, yo, I got a Switch. I'm playing Xenoblade 2. I'm like, oh, fuck, there goes my fun. Now I just have a game that Kyle already owns now. And it's like, I guess I'll fucking play it then. I've bought it. I might as well play it. I played it, and I was liking it quite a bit. I was interested in... I loved the story. But I got to a point where I was like, they'd announced that in like a month or so they were going to add an easy mode. And I was like, an easy mode? That's for me.
Easy mode is now selectable.
Then I waited a month, and then I picked it back up, and then I blasted through the rest of it in like a week. I even turned the difficulty back up, because I was like, okay, I get the hang of it now, so I turned it up again near the end. But I love Xenoblade 2, man. It's such a weird game because it's one of those things similar to Death Stranding where everything about it shouldn't appeal to me, but it does. And I don't know if it's just the story and the characters that drag me through the entire thing, because I've said it before, I think Torn is better. In terms of combat, I think Torn is better. Maybe even story. I haven't played both of them in such a long time that I need to do it again. One of my resolutions for 2021 should be play through these fucking games again. To be fair, I could play through them again now because I have a month until PS5 and nothing to play other than Crash. So it's like now's the time. I could bust through this. Maybe I will. But there's just something about the characters and the story in this game that I absolutely adored. And I don't know, it's similar to Persona 5, but whereas Persona 5 is a really well acted story that makes me cry because of how sad the ending is and how you don't want it to end. It's really weird. I always describe Persona 5 and Persona 4 and just Persona in general as they're weird because they're the longest games you'll play in your fucking life, yet when you get
but it never feels like enough.
You feel like you're not ready to leave. It's like you go into a birthday party as a kid and your mum's like, it's time to go now, and you're like, no, they're just bringing out the cake. This isn't, no, I can't leave. But no, whereas Xenoblade, it did emotionally impact me, which I find funny. It emotionally impacted me in many ways. I did cry at one point in this. I also fucking cried with laughter at another. I love you and all you guys will still be my favorite line in a video game ever. Never have I before, because of a vocal performance, had to pause a video game because I was too busy crying of laughter to carry on watching the cutscene. I literally had to pause it and sort myself out. It was that good. But no.
Dude, I make sure to watch that cutscene every time I play the game.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that cutscene again in all its glory. But man, I fucking love Xenoblade 2. And yeah, I think the whole Xenoblade franchise is great. I think Xenoblade 1 is also a really well done game. But there's something about 2 that really hit me and really resonated with me. And I love it. And you've got no excuse because both of them are on Switch now.
Yeah.
So you've got no excuse. If you're a story person, you're like, I must play Xenoblade 1 before I play Xenoblade 2, which you don't have to.
You don't.
And yeah, go ahead. But I don't know. There's something about
it helps, but you don't have to.
It helps for the final 5 hours of the game.
And it didn't bother me.
Yeah, but to me, I fucking love this game, and I'll never stop praising it. It is
Yeah.
my second favorite game on Switch, behind Breath of the Wild. So, you know,
So
that top 5 is so janky. But yeah, go for it.
I actually had Xenoblade 2 as my 5th pick.
Go for it, then.
Because,
Kyle. Yeah, nice.
basically, I went into the game like expecting to like it.
Mhm.
You know, I love the original Xenoblade. I played it so many times. I've 100%ed the original game on the Wii, but back before any of the fucking quality of life changes for the quests were there.
Suicidal. You were like, I like this game that much. I'm gonna do all the arbitrary quests, and there's no way of me being able to tell which ones I've done.
I can't. I'm gonna deliver biscuits to every person in the world. Everyone will have biscuits.
But anyways, so I was really excited to finally, have a Switch and have Xenoblade 2. I had played up to the end of Chapter 2, and I really loved what I was playing. The whole final fight with Morag at the end of Chapter 2, when you, like, topple a water tower, like, that shit was fucking cool. And then the character interactions between Rex, Pyra, Nia, Tora, all the whole gang, like, I loved it. And then Chapter 3 started, and it just felt like a fucking slog.
Yeah, that's where I paused as well.
It just felt like the game was at such a good high point, and then it just fell off so hard. But I kept pushing through, and then the end of Chapter 3 hooked me back in so hard. Like, that moment was like, of everything that just happens in Chapter 3, like, that was the defining moment of the game for me, and that was the point where I said out loud, I want to finish this game.
It was that good, I was pissed off at myself that I waited a month at that point, thinking, oh, this game's alright. Like, but it's kind of hit a low. I was actually fucking pissed off at myself that I'm like, I stopped before this. Like, why? I stopped.
Yeah. Like, the end of Chapter 3 is so fucking climactic. Between everything that's going on, all the music in the background, the whole cinematics of it, it's just everything just works so well in that scene.
Yeah.
And it's one of those parts that just resonates with me. And like Xenoblade 2, I can now say without a doubt, it's definitely my favorite game in the franchise. Probably even of all time. I love it more than Xenoblade 1.
I feel like it's a bad rap. I feel like
it really does.
People shit on it too much. In my opinion, I say this is a controversial opinion, I think it has the better soundtrack as well. I fucking love the Xenoblade 2 soundtrack. The fucking Roaming the Wastelands, fucking great.
I forget what it's called. It's either called like Incoming or Counterattack or something.
The battle music.
Yeah, it's one of the boss musics.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 different boss themes in that game, and they're all incredible.
The night themes, all of the music, man, it's so fucking adorable.
Tantal at night. Oh, that song is so haunting. It's so good with like the one voice and then like the backing chorus behind it. Like that shit was so.
I don't remember what. Yeah,
so
I don't remember what the cathedral place was called. God, I don't remember what.
Indal.
Yeah, Indal. The fucking orchestra in that place, man.
Yeah.
Like the orchestra and the choir, man. At night time, that music is just incredible. Honestly. Like people always big up Xenoblade 1 soundtrack, and I'm like, fair enough. It's a good soundtrack. I really like it. It's really great. But people sleep on Xenoblade 2 soundtrack so much because there's so much good. Everyone always says, "Oh yeah, we like the Xenoblade. We love the Xenoblade soundtrack," and I'm like, "Oh, what's your favorite song?" And they always say the same fucking song, dude. It's the Plains. It's always the Plains, dude. Everyone's like, "I love the Plains music." I'm like,
Gower Plains.
Like, oh yeah, I'm like Gower Plains. I'm like, that's cool. I also like Gower Plains, but there's like 60 million songs in Xenoblade 2 that I'd rather listen to than Gower Plains because they're all so good. Literally every Titan's music is great in its own way. Like I fucking love it. Where like. I can't say enough good things about Xenoblade 2.
Honestly.
And people either put it off because they're like, oh, I like Xenoblade 1 better, or, oh, Pyra's model, which, yes, I agree. Yes. Probably should have
It's
censored
a bit
it.
top heavy.
Yeah, should have probably
It is
censored it a bit.
Just a wee bit.
When you say you like Xenoblade 2, people automatically think you're horny on main, which, hey, what can I say? I'm no lies detected, but still, I'm not horny on main, guys. You've seen my Twitter. It's the anti-horny
I am.
zone. It's the anti-horny zone. I just talk about shit. That's all I do. It's just like, oh, fuck
He
you,
posts his plats on PS4. That's
yeah.
it.
If that isn't anti-horny, I don't know what is, boyos.
That is horny repellent.
Horny repellent. Be gone, horny. Be gone.
Anyways,
Praise.
back to Xenoblade 2. If you were ever like turned off by the combat in the game, there's a ton of good resources online that explain how easy the combat can be to pick up. Like, and it like just remember everything in the combat builds up off of itself. Like your auto attacks build up your arts, which build up your which build up your specials, which build up your chain attacks. Like, it's very simple when it comes down to it, but the game does a really bad job of explaining it. And I think that's where the biggest pitfall of it comes in.
Yeah, you don't
and that
have
was
to be an expert, man. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Is if you think it looks complicated, trust me, one, it's not, and two, you don't need to know all the intricacies of it.
Yeah.
It's not like I was able to finish it. If I can finish the fucking game, anyone that has more than one fucking brain cell that is focused on attention span, then you're good to go. Because if I can, Mr. Kingdom Hearts is pretty fun if you just mash the X button and just look away for 20 minutes. I'll deal with you. The combat, people make it out to be more complex than it actually is. I feel like it really is quite simple. I've said it before.
It just looks a lot more complicated than it is because of how much is going on at once.
Yeah.
There's just a lot at face value. There's a lot to focus on, but really, it's pretty straightforward once you eventually, like, with me, I don't know about you, Ethan, but with me playing the game, eventually something just clicked, and I had a good understanding of the mechanics.
Yeah, it's like Death Stranding, but instead of going, oh, I've just wasted 50 hours of my life, when did I stop hating this? It was, oh, I actually, I'm not shit anymore. I wonder when that happened. Like, oh, cool. But no, yeah, I'll never stop praising that game.
I think the last thing I want to say is the blade pulling mechanic and the gacha system that's built into the game. Some people might find that as like a turnoff, or it's kind of just up to luck as to what you get, but I personally never really had an issue with it. You don't need like the super strong rare blades to beat the game. And
yeah, I kind of ignored that and
Same.
got through the game fine.
I played mainly with story characters, so for example, for me, Rex and Pyra are always tied to each other. I never really used other blades with Rex, same with me.
Yeah.
All other characters.
But the game also makes it a point to like give you other blades. Other like rare blades
at times to get the right credentials and stuff like that to move forward, but it's one of those things that it's very much open to the way that you play the game. It doesn't force too much onto you in that regard, where you're not sitting there going, oh, I have to go and pull this thing so I can beat this boss. You can very easily beat the game with the original blades that you get in the game. It's not difficult in that regard.
Yeah. Also, Torna's great. I'm just gonna throw that in there.
Torna is fucking great. I love Torna, man. Torna's...
If you haven't done it yet, go listen to the battle music.
It's a really good battle track.
That song's a fucking banger.
Game. Also made me cry at the end. Fucking, I love Torna. It's great. It's one of the best expansions to a game that I've played.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
The fact that they just give you another full game for half-priced DLC, like, that was just outstanding on Monolith's part.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
And it's just as, if not better quality than the base game.